Gameplay. Being one of the newer human girls, she hasn't been in a lot of games, but it's not that bad though, as the amount of time she's been in the main games is actually the same as Yomu. As Yomu was in Imperishable, Phantasmagoria, and 10 Desires, while Sanae was in UFO, 10 Desires, and Legacy. There's of course the spin-offs where Yomu would indeed have more appearances, but I was only counting the main games, and the fact that she's shown up quite often in the more recent games has to say something about our second Shrine Maiden. Starting in her first playable game, UFO, Sanae had two shot types. Her first shot type is 1-point focus and homing type. Her shot is Sky Serpent. The shot homes enemies, but only if they're in a horizontal line, so a little different from the usual homing you get from Reimu. It still functions pretty well. Her spell card is Snake Sign, Orochi of Ancient Times. A big snake pops in the background and enemies takes damage during it. While the animation is happening, you can still shoot while you're invincible, so go wild. Her second shot type is High Power, High Spread type. Her shot type is Cobalt Spread. The unique thing about it is that it shoots out frogs in a spread form. When they connect to an enemy, they do a mini explosion. When you switch to focus stance though, those frogs will be fired straight ahead instead. Her spell card is Frog Sign, Willy Toad. The attack doesn't happen right away, but during its charge time, you're invincible and can still shoot. When it's fully charged though, it'll do a massive amount of damage, so that's the trade-off. Popping in 10 Desires, she only has one shot type as the game had 4 playable characters. She uses the comforting Wide type. Her shot is Mighty Wind. During unfocus, she has good spread shot as her shot type implies. Her focus shot is Mighty Blast. When focused, she loses the spread and the shots are more compact. Her spell card is Grey Thaumaturgy. Yeah, hopefully I said that right. It summons a star and damages enemies. Like her previous spell cards, she's invulnerable while still being able to shoot. Her special ability in the game is that her Spirit World gauge charges much faster than the other girls. In Legacy, she only has one shot type because there's 4 characters once more. Her wide shot is Cobalt Spread and her focus shot is Sky Serpent. Her spell card is Willy Toad. They operate as if you were playing UFO, so if you played that, you should be familiar to Sanae. We're now in the fighter portion. Even though she only had one game for it, it's still important nonetheless. In Hiso Tensoko, Sanae's tools are more geared towards baiting enemies. She possesses some large melee attacks and bullets that cover a good amount of space and stay on screen for a while, making her good at forcing her opponents into disadvantageous situations. Sanae's flight will summon wind, which can be used to move extremely quickly, shorten jumps, and perform other unique maneuvers. Another notable feature is Sanae's goddess summons. Her assists, especially the conical moves, are effective weapons in her neutral game, allowing her to dominate once used. However, Sanae can't rely on these assists often, as they have significant cooldown time. Sanae also suffers from having a poor pressure game and may struggle ensuring spirit damage without spell cards. Playing Sanae requires a deep understanding of her unique features, especially her wind summoning flight. Some of her pros are: has dense bullets that can cover a lot of area, possesses melee attacks that have big hitboxes, goddess summons allows her to control a lot of space, she has incredible movement speed, unique movement style, has many applications, and allows her to move in ways others cannot. Some of her cons, however, are very loose pressure game, summons have fairly long cooldown periods, her counter-initiative gameplay and mechanics make her very difficult to learn. Some other notable features of Sanae is Sanae's flight summons wind. Sanae's flight summons wind as mentioned before. Sanae cannot change her flight angle at all. The wind's force will have an effect on Sanae after the flight ends, and she will be pushed or pulled by it slightly. Sanae's wind can also be used to redirect some of her bullets. She's able to summon her goddesses, Suiko and Konako, as 4C and 6C bullets, as well as her 214 and 623 skills. Once a goddess is used, there is a cooldown period before it can be used again. Skills cause a longer cooldown and differ from each other, but each can be leveled to decrease its cooldown. Cooldown only begins once the summon leaves.